All right, so here's the thing. I still think at some point I'll be a pro snowboarder, getting to ride the biggest lines in Alaska and Japan, chasing the best conditions and endless pow turns until the end of my days. But in reality, I just work in the film industry in Toronto, Ontario, and end up torturing myself watching all kinds of content from Red Bull Snow, Shred Bots, the Freeride World Tour, Supernatural, and I end up just saving up any extra cash I can to live out my dream for that 1 week a year. And that's my season. It's sad. I end up researching the mountains months ahead of time, looking for the best zones to ride, the weather patterns, and it's a part of the fun knowing that you're not guaranteed that magical mix of cold air and moisture that's going to give you that perfect powder day that everyone dreams of having heading into your trip. But all this being said, if you're not having fun in the mountains, well, there's something wrong with you.
Wow!
No idea.
Come on, groove along. That's it, baby.
First class travel.
I know you're on a roll.
Got so stuffy on that flight.
Let's take it real slow. You know we got what you need, baby. So take it real long.
Get that one in there.
I said we got what you need, honey. Come and groove along. Come on. Rolling on the highway.
Out of focus. Sick.
Come on. Say, babe. I said, babe. Oh, honey. Come and groove along. You gotta feel it. Yeah, you gotta move along. You gotta feel it. Feel it. Feel it. Feel you gotta feel it. Feel it. Feel it. Feel you gotta feel it. On the roadway, you gotta move along.
So true to form, I did most of my packing the night before. I scrambled to find all of the GoPros and accessories that I needed to actually make this video. And top it all off, I had a 10 o'clock hockey game. I mean, I had to go. We're in the playoffs. Which left me with about 4 hours sleep with an 8:45 a.m. flight the next morning. Had to be there 2 hours early. Didn't leave a whole lot of time for a good night's sleep. Now, if you know me and you've traveled with me before, or if you just know me and you haven't traveled with me, you know that all of that only leads to one thing and one thing only. And I gave you a bit of a clue in that opening travel montage. So let's go back and we'll roll that clip again.
Oh, man. Got so stuffy on that flight.
Yes, the classic Josh goes on vacation and immediately gets a sinus cold. Now, this is something that's been happening long before global pandemics. Seriously, ask any one of my family members. If they've traveled with me, they know it never fails that I get a cold for a couple days. Luckily, it didn't last long, and the first couple days brought nothing but sunshine and epic views on the Lizard Range in Fernie, British Columbia.
There we go.
Sorry, mom, back.
All good. tend to torture myself watching a ton of snowboard content on YouTube, but the one thing that this does allow me to do is build up a bit of a hit list of the mountains that I really want to check out. And over the last few years, I've been really excited to travel up and down the Powder Highway in BC, which I was able to start off just before the pandemic and hit up Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. I'll throw a link right up here. And this year, obviously with Fernie, BC, and hopefully next year, we'll cap it all off with Revelstoke, BC. For me personally, there's a few things that I look for in a mountain resort before I go spend my hard-earned cash on it. And those few things are pretty important to make sure that I'm gonna have a good time while I'm out there, whether the weather is good or not. First and foremost, it's gotta be a smaller mountain town. It's just got a vibe that places like Whistler, Banff, Sunshine, all of these more commercialized places that are well established just doesn't have. You just know that people that live in these smaller mountain towns are there for the outdoors. They don't need the flash and the big money that comes in. They just want easy access to the outdoors. They want small lift lines, much like myself. I don't want to wait around for an hour in a lift line. And you just know that people are just going to be happy to be there. And it's that's one of the big things I look for.
Rode this middle chute and I cut in there and made our way down.
You're not gonna get much. You hit the bottom.
Fernie Resort is actually a range, or at least it's situated on the Lizard Range, and basically what that means is it's one long head wall that's divided up by a series of ridges and bowls that give it its rideable terrain. And this is something a little bit different than what I'm actually used to riding when I go out west. Now, unfortunately, much like Kicking Horse Resort, the mountain hadn't seen a ton of snow before we got there, and with the temperatures climbing throughout the week, we figured we should check out all the mountain had to offer and try and find the best spots to ride.
I think we're getting low enough now that even the fresh stuff is all crusty.
Yeah. Ooh. This looks pretty good here.
That's where you're going?
I think so, yeah. Looks pretty great.
Does look good.
Oh yeah, right on top of it. That's fun. All right, point and send. We had read going into the trip that the peak chair, Polar Peak, rarely, if ever, opens because of consistent wind and constant avalanche danger. Now that didn't stop us from the first 2 days checking over our shoulder every time we got off the White Pass chair to see if that Polar Peak chair was open, but for the first 2 days, it was spinning empty. Day 3, we saw that magical open sign and we booked it over there as soon as we possibly could. All right, Polar Peak is open for the first time on the trip. Apparently it does not open often.
It's okay, but
You guys
again,
strong?
We are strong.
Okay, watch out.
wind The cloud shoots and the coaster have some debris on it.
Okay.
Okay. It's so skiing on the so
Okay, great.
just watch what you're doing.
Now that's something a little new to me. When Ski Patrol is actually waiting at the base of the lift to ask if you're a strong enough rider to make it down those runs, I mean, come on, you're pretty well guaranteed to have a bit of a wild ride down, right?
Kind of nervous.
There we go.
At least this is good. We're going, and then we can see if Brody and Devin should even attempt it. I'm guessing not.
I'm guessing not. With that extra little warning that they gave us there, it might not be the move. Like, roll right up to like, strong? Yeah.
Now, we were lucky enough to be one of the first sets of riders to be on the Polar Peak lift, which meant we were one of the first to be up at the Polar Peak and guaranteed to get some fresh turns, which wasn't something we were sure we were actually going to get.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So worth it.
Oh man.
That was incredible. A little choppy as spots, but oh yeah, bud.
The clouds rolled in on our fourth day, and Dennis and I just took it easy. Brody and Devin, they took the day off. They needed a day off for their legs, and so we just checked out one zone that we hadn't been out to, and that was Siberia Bowl. And more specifically, we got down to Mitchie Shoots. It was all right.
All right, Mitchie Shoots is good.
On our last day, the POW gods, they granted our wish. Just not quite in the way that we had expected. We woke up to the sounds of dynamite blasts going off up in the Alpine, and that can only mean one thing.
Last day of powder day.
The four of us, we were up and ready to go, and we headed outside for our first chair. But there was one problem. It was raining.
First year, last day, pow day.
Rain day.
It's a bit of a unique experience watching the rain change from snow through all the different microclimates that you happen to go through while sitting on an open chairlift. And it's an experience that I recommend only going through once if you absolutely have to. Even our Gore-Tex gear was getting absolutely saturated. While the mountain had seen a ton of snow overnight, it was the perfect blend of moisture and accumulation that caused for some serious avalanche danger. This meant that the White Pass chair would be closed for the foreseeable future. With the White Pass chair closed, we were forced to ride all the way back down to the base, where the snow turned back to rain, and do that whole process again. Did I also mention that on my first run, I actually crunched my right hip and knee? Yeah, it still hurts today.
Oh, that's so thick.
Oh, I forget how heavy that is.
just sucks you.
It's tough to fight it.
After 3 runs, we were all saturated and pretty miserable. We made an executive decision to head in for an early lunch, dry off our gear, and keep checking Instagram to see when Fernie would actually open up the White Pass chair.
Okay, last 3 hours of the trip. It's pouring rain. How do we feel about that?
I love it because I know it's someone up top. Pow! Yeah, it's pretty miserable on this one.
Oh, welcome back. It's not raining anymore, and no one's on that.
No one except for us.
No one except for us, and White Pass chair is next to empty.
The afternoon was a blast. It snowed the entire time we were out there. Brody got to experience his first powder turns and the leg burn that goes with it.
Oh, God. Ho, ho.
I've got the time to show my love what it's all about. We pick up to show your love and have a second thought. It's all about blood. It's hard to remember what you forgot. Don't wake me up, don't wake me up. My dreams you never, never lie. I got so much more. Don't give me I got so much more to give. Don't leave me
All right, Fernie 2022. It's a wrap.
We capped off our trip with a great dinner in downtown Fernie at an amazing taco joint where I ate way too many tacos, had some great cocktails, and we just reminisced about the week's events. Now, if you made it to the end of this video, thanks for watching. I had planned on actually shooting this quite a bit differently, but I had extensive issues with my GoPros, which I should probably contact GoPro about. But I didn't get to film all of the vloggy bits I had hoped, and well, I think it turned out all right anyway. If you think so too, feel free to leave me a like and comment down below if you've been to Fernie, or if you have any questions about Fernie. I'll do my best to answer them with my extensive experience riding there for 5 days. Stick around and subscribe if you want to see my next video, which I'm super excited about. I've been working on this video for a couple months now because I bought something that's going to make my life so much easier and just better. All right. See you in the next one.